Rock history gets told by the stadiums. A handful of names on tour shirts, the same riffs on every classic rock playlist. But between the headliners and the footnotes lives another universe. The bands who pressed a single LP on a shoestring label, tore up 3 clubs, then vanished into thrift shops and rumor. No t-shirt, no radio single, just the kind of electricity that leaves burn marks on tape. We're crossing from Scottish Hammond prog to Japanese heavy Psych, from Rust Belt proto-metal to Dutch twin guitar thunder, with a stop in Berlin's grit and organ underbelly. Some of these records were private press miracles. Others bore the right catalog number, but the wrong decade. What they share is a pulse. Ideas too big for their budgets, players who swung for the fences, and songs that make you ask how this wasn't on every mixtape you ever made. This film is about that universe. A few ground rules for the dig. No household names. If your aunt knows them, they're not here. One band, one door and track. We'll give you the cut that unlocks the album. Front to back listening over singles. Most of these bands thought in long forms, suites, jams, side-length statements. Context without homework. You'll get the essentials, where they came from, why they vanished, what to listen for, then straight to the music. You'll hear organ stacks that growl like diesel engines, guitars recorded so hot they warp the air, rhythm sections that don't know the difference between prog discipline and bar band danger, and singers who believe that one weekend's take might be their only shot at permanence. Sometimes it was. Cue this up on real speakers or good headphones. As we count down from 20 obscure bands to the one grail you've probably never heard, keep a notes app open. The point isn't trivia, it's discovery. When a riff floors you or a deep cut rewires your sense of the 60s 70s, drop it in the comments with your own secret weapon. I'll pin a standout list and build a companion playlist from your picks. Ready to step off the main road? Good. Let's start where the maps run out. Drop the needle on Writing on the Wall, and you can almost see the lights dim in a small Glasgow hall. This was organ-forward heavy psych/prog with a stage actor's sense of drama. Hammond chords that arrive like curtains opening, guitars soaked in overdrive rather than fuzz for a more vocal mid-range, and drums that punch squarely rather than swing. Their lone LP, The Power of the Picts, 1969, plays like a set, overture, narrative, denouement. The vocals go big, the riffs go bigger, and the arrangements leave space for the organ to comment on the story rather than simply double it. Why they matter? They welded UK theatre rock flair to the darker, heavier palette that would soon harden into early 70s prog and proto-metal. Start here. It came on a Sunday for the scene-setting organ/guitar dialogue, then Bogeyman for how they ratchet tension. Arzachel is the sound of a single high-stakes day in 1969. Future luminaries hiding behind pseudonyms, an engineer writing the red, and a band determined to bottle the kind of organ-driven psychedelic improv that usually evaporates after last call. It is a sweet, delicious morn. You get 2 modes, concise, melodic instrumentals that sketch mood with deceptive simplicity, and long pieces where the Farfisa/Hammond howls like a lead guitar, trading lines with acid-etched 6-string. The closer melts form into atmosphere, psych improvisation as slow-moving weather system. Wintered hearts renews, and this is that my soul pursues. Why they matter? They captured, on a shoestring and a deadline, the bridge between London club psych and the more exploratory Canterbury/underground scenes about to bloom. Start here. Azathoth for the slow, ritualistic burn. Then Queen Saint Gang to hear how melodic their writing could be when the storm clouds part. Guitarist Kazuo Takeda begins as a blues disciple and, by 1971, is sculpting riffs with a hard-edged, right-hand authority that pushes toward proto-metal. The drums are dry and forward, the bass stalks the root with menacing patience, And the guitar tone has that late 60s British bite filtered through Tokyo studios. Less room reverb, more speaker cone. On Demon and 11 Children, 1971, tempos surge and collapse like a live set. Solos are purposeful, not meandering, and the band's sense of dynamics, drop to a whisper, explode to a wall, feels years ahead of peers with bigger budgets. Why they matter? They prove that the transition from blues worship to heavy originality happened everywhere, and that Japan's heavy scene didn't need to mimic the UK to sound colossal. Start here, atomic bombs away. Then the title suite for the quiet, loud grammar they helped codify. Rid the mind of the novelty name, and you get a hyperkinetic Japanese hard psych/prog outfit with 2 secret weapons. Athletic Hammond/keys and tempo shifts that feel like a band racing its own shadow. On Dr. Siegel's Fried Egg shooting machine, 1972, the rhythm section darts rather than lumbers. Guitar lines knife through the mix, and the keys don't just pad. They solo like a horn player, stabbing syncopations into the pocket. The vibe is reckless in the best way. Fast, melodic, slightly unhinged, but tight enough to stick the landing. Why they matter? They bottle the exuberance of early 70s youth rock, proggy arrangement ideas played with GarageBand hunger. Start here, the title track for a full band sprint. Then, I Love You, to hear how they balance speed with melody. Volume 1, 1970, sounds like a late-night broadcast from a neighboring dimension. Minor key riffs, vocals that hover between chant and lament, and guitar tones dialed darker and drier than London's Psych mainstream. Sell your sins to pay for time. The trio format gives everything an exposed wiring quality. No safety net of keyboards, just bass and drums anchoring, while guitar sketches a ritual circle around the voice. When they drop to halftime, the air pressure changes. When they surge, it feels earned. Why they matter? They're a reminder that heavy psych could be intimate and unsettling instead of merely loud. Folk horror set to a power trio. Start here, Mystic Man for the slow dread. Appearance is everything. Style is a way of living for their jagged, slogan-like chorus craft. All the wrong ones, I think you know. Bay Area psych often gets reduced to sunshine and jangle. Cack cuts the sunlight with steel. Their self-titled 1969 LP folds bright, twin guitar filigree into arrangements that aren't afraid of weight. Drums dry and close, bass melodic but insistent, vocals stacked in harmonies that bloom and then retract to let the guitar speak. Would be a better place. Well done. You hear the tug-of-war between song form and jam instinct, and the band wins by letting both breathe. All the wrong ones, I think you know. Why they matter? They caught San Francisco's melodic gift right as the scene began to harden into tighter, heavier statements. Proof the coast could do muscle without losing melody. Start here. Electric Sailor, those harmonized leads, then Disbelievant. Produced by Abe Voko Kesh, the Savage Resurrection debut, 1968, is the sound of teenagers overachieving at volume. Guitars scream with the slightly microphonic edge of hot single coils. The drums sit forward, almost punk in presence. The singer rides the chaos with a preacher's urgency. It's less about structure than momentum, riff, break, solo, chase, and somehow the tape catches not just the parts but the kinetic charge between them. Why they matter? They embody the garage-to-acid pipeline in its rawest form. No grand concept. Just kids playing like the room might eject them if they eased up for one bar. Start here. Thing in E. Pure forward motion. Then talking to you. Beneath the notorious name is a band fluent in organ-driven UK Psych, where whimsy and ministrade places mid-song. On Pussy Plays, 1969, you get pastoral melodies abruptly cross-cut with fuzz surges, drum patterns that slip from march to skip, and production choices, panned organ swells, treated vocals, that feel like a small studio trying every trick once and keeping the ones that worked. The charm is in the contrasts, nursery rhyme motifs colliding with minor key, climbs that tilt the floor under your feet. You are all my children this year. Why they matter? They nail a very British tightrope. Childlike melody carried by arrangements that hint at storm clouds just beyond the hedgerow. Start here. We built the sun. Then comets for organ heft. Elias Hulk's Unchained, 1970, lives up to its title. The guitar tone is hair-trigger hot. The rhythm section pushes air like a pub PA at its limit, and the writing toys with modal/Eastern flavors without turning into pastiche. Where some contemporaries polish their heaviness, Elias Hulk leave the edges jagged, snare rattle in the room, guitar squeal between phrases, bass lines that occasionally surge ahead of the beat in a way that feels live because it is. Why they matter? They're the bar band ID of the era. No string sections, no art school gloss. Just a band hitting hard and trusting that energy outruns budget. Start here, Anthology of Dreams. Then, Ain't Got You for their ragged boogie. Some people say, Bodkin's self-titled 1972 Private Press LP is the stuff of collector legend. But forget the scarcity and listen to the sound. Hammond B. 3 at Preacher Volume. Guitar building walls rather than decorations. A rhythm section that can stomp and swing inside the same 8 bars. Just waiting and hoping. The long opener moves like weather. Organ themes recur in different temperatures. Guitar takes a melody and hardens it. The drummer understands that fills are architecture, not decoration. The singer? Grit with range, leaning into the band rather than floating above it. Why they matter? They prove that the Church of Hammond heavy prog thing wasn't just a Midlands or London phenomenon. Scotland had its own altar, and Bodkin lit the candles. Start here, 3 Days After Death, Part 1. For the sermon, stay for Part 2 to hear how they release the pressure. In early 70s Holland, a clutch of bands fused British blues bite with continental discipline. Cargo are the most slept on of the lot, a one-off, self-titled LP, 1972, built on twin guitars that don't just harmonize, they argue, echo, and chase. The rhythm section plays with that Dutch neatness, kick drum dry, bass melodic, so the solos can wander without losing the road. Sidelong passages feel improvised yet purposeful, like a live set captured at peak focus. Why they matter? They prove the European mainland wasn't just importing the heavy sound, it was refining it, tightening arrangements without sanding off attitude. Start here, finding out, for interlocking guitars and tension release dynamics. Cleveland's Granicus cut a single LP, 1973, that sounds like it was recorded with the meters in the red and the windows open to the freeway. You get arena-sized vocals, molten twin guitars, and breakneck turns where the drummer dares the band to keep up. There's a Midwestern grit here, less London swagger, more shop floor adrenaline. When the tempo drops, they still sound like they're leaning forward, just waiting for the green light. Why they matter? They capture the working-class American mutation of heavy rock. Louder, faster, and built to blow out club PAs from Detroit to Youngstown. Start here. You're in America, straight to the jugular, chorus built for fist-high air. One LP, Dirt Box, 1972, and a legend outsized by its press run. Blackwater Park sit in that German seam where hard rock meets heavy prog, gritty guitar, Hammond stabs, bass lines that walk like they mean it. The production is unfussy, close mics, little sheen, which lets the riffs punch through. Decades later, the band's name became a calling card for metal crate diggers and a nod on a famous prog metal album title, and suddenly everyone went hunting for originals. Why they matter? They're a snapshot of pre-metal density. All the weight, none of the gloss, cut in a city that knew something about concrete and echo. Start here, rock song. Truth in advertising. The riff is the law. Growers of Mushroom, 1971. Sounds like hot tubes and sweat. Swampy, swinging hard rock where the rhythm section Lopez and the guitar nicks American blues phrasing but drives it harder. Vocals ride the pocket with a mix of snarl and soul. The choruses arrive like a bar brawl's first shove. This is the record that turned from bargain bin oddity to collector grail for a reason. It's alive, even when the band downshifts into a slower burn. Why they matter? They distilled UK blues rock to its leanest, meanest form. No orchestration, no frills, just tone, timing, and a little danger. Start here, Freelance Fiend, Riff City, the moment you get them. Texas birthed a distinct heavy feel, wide open, sun-baked, a little ominous. Josefus nailed it on Dead Man, 1970 long forms that slow cook a riff until it's trance, then snap to boogie without warning. The guitar tone is sandpaper and glass. The bass never stops pushing. The vocal lives between outlaw yowl and blues lament. The title suite is the tell, Americana themes in a proto-doom silhouette, recorded like the room itself is part of the band. Why they matter? They point directly from late 60s Psych to the slow/low heaviness that would explode decades later. Start here, Dead Man, the whole long piece, let it unfold. Brooklyn trio Sir Lord Baltimore come crashing out of Kingdom Come, 1970, with a speed and density that felt almost alien for the day. The drums hurtling forward, bass glued to the kick, and guitar compressing riffs into bullets created a sound that rock writers would soon start calling heavy metal. Vocals are unhinged, in a good way, and the songs refuse to meander. It's the adrenaline version of hard rock. No patience for frills, only propulsion. Why they matter? Historians can argue origins all day, but if you want to hear early metal's DNA on tape, this is where the strands align. Start here, Master Heartache, ferocious, blueprint vibes. On Andromeda, 1969, you can hear late 60s Psych ballooning into early 70s prog in real time, multi-part suites, recurring motifs, and guitars that sing melodies as often as they snarl.
Everything that's wanted of me.
The vocals are theatrical without tipping into parody. The rhythm section can stomp or float, and the arrangements leave room for genuine dynamic storytelling. You're not just getting riffs, you're getting narratives. Why they matter? They bridge the era, showing how heavy guitar bands learned structure without losing voltage, a line many failed to walk. Blitz cut 2 albums for the Vertigo label starting in 1970, and both play like a bar fight between psychedelia and the oncoming storm of hard rock. It's power trio logic, drums forward and conversational, bass loud enough to count as a second guitar, and the 6-string toggling between ragged riff and lethargic howl. They love a left turn, tempo shifts, odd bar counts, but never at the expense of swagger. Why they matter? They represent the moment of pivot when UK Psych went heavy in both tone and intent, with studio craft catching up to live ferocity. Start here, smoking the day away, loose, nasty, and strangely elegant. Before prog metal had a name, High Tide were bowing electric violin over wall of guitar arrangements and calling it a day. Sea Shanties, 1969, is confrontational in the best sense. Dissonant organ and violin lines snake through chord changes. The drummer plays like he's trying to wrestle the song to the ground, and the vocals arrive with apocalyptic calm. It's heavy, but not in a blues way. It's art heavy, carved in sharp angles and minor modes.
Vomiting their lies of truth in her youth.
Why they matter? They proved heaviness could be harmonically adventurous, seeding ideas that would flower across prog, psych folk, and extreme metal circles.
You know, bro, there's just something special about the sound of a classic rock album on vinyl. It's how these albums were originally meant to be heard, the warmth, the crackle, and the ritual of dropping the needle on the record. It's an experience that digital just can't recreate. And if you've ever wanted to dive into that classic vinyl sound, but didn't know where to start, I've got you covered. I've been checking out this Victrola Bluetooth portable suitcase turntable. It's the perfect way to get into vinyl. You just pop it open, put on a masterpiece like Led Zeppelin's 4 or Pink Floyd's The Dark Side of the Moon, and let the needle drop on that legendary groove. The best part is, it's a suitcase design, so you can literally take your rock and roll vibes anywhere. You can move it from your bedroom to the living room, or even take it to a friend's place. And it even has Bluetooth, so you can stream music from your phone when you're not spinning records. It's the best of both worlds. This is a great starting point for any fan who wants to feel the foundation of RockLore in a whole new way. If you're interested in grabbing one for yourself, I've put a link to it in the description below. Clicking that link and buying one is an awesome way to support the channel and help us keep bringing you more deep dives into the music we all love. So go check it out, and let's get back to the countdown.
It'll All Work Out in Boomland, 1970, is one of those once-in-a-lifetime debuts. Cathedral-sized guitar tone, drums that feel played by a composer, and songs that swing from bruising to beautiful without warning. The revelation is the lyric melancholy. These aren't just riff vehicles. They're songs with dynamic arcs, pastoral interludes, and choruses that haunt. The guitar work, cut by a player barely out of his teens, is equal parts melody and electricity. When the solos launch, they sing rather than shred. Why they matter? They're the culmination of this entire list. Psych imagination, prog architecture, and hard rock power in one coherent voice. Then gone almost as quickly as they arrived. Start here. No More White Horses, the perfect T2 summary, and then play the album front to back. The journey doesn't end here. Rock Warrior. Watch this next.